There are over 230 combos listed in UFC 5, 75 boxing, 70 kickboxing, 65 Muay Thai, and 20-ish traditional combos. But this is an undercount. Basic combos aren't included in these lists, nor are some combo variants. The true number is probably closer to 400. So, you need to know all of these combos to be a true master, right? Hardly. I don't know them all, and I doubt the absolute best players do either. All you need is to understand how combos work. In fact, if you understand one special combo, you'll gain the ability to understand UFC 5 combos in general, to understand combo theory. This special combo is the jab, cross, lead hook, the most basic 3-punch boxing combo that exists. We're going to build this combo from scratch in the lab to understand why it's so effective, but also why it can so rarely be thrown against good players. Along the way, we'll build up a general theory of combos that can be applied to any combo you want to throw. This video may be old hat for veteran players, but if you've ever been unsure why you're throwing one combo and not another, this is the video for you. Here we have the big list of the elements of combo theory, but I won't show you all of them just yet. Instead, we'll reveal all the aspects of combo theory as we discover the 1, 2, 3, building our theory as we build the combo. It's time for a thought experiment. Imagine you have an opponent standing in front of you at boxing range. They're waiting for you to act first. They will block every strike you throw. They will not use head movement. However, they may fire back a punch at any moment in time once you start your combo. For simplicity's sake, we'll just stick to punches. What punch do we start with? We start with the jab. The jab is fast, the jab is efficient. Most important of all, the jab combos into everything. Well, nearly everything, not the lead elbow. The jab goes to the head, of course, because if our opponent is going to block any strike we throw, we want to attack high. Attacking the high guard favors the attacker, breaks down the block very efficiently. Low block shots favor the defender due to reduced recovery time for the attacker and the counter-striking opportunities it presents. This brings us to the first element of our combo theory. Speed. Speed is self-evidently a good thing. You know this. You want to hit your opponent before they can hit you. Landing first helps us in trades. If you lose a lot of exchanges, it may be because you're getting hit while firing off a slow strike to start your combo. Speed is what makes a combo a combo. Not every combo has to start with a fast strike, but most do. So we've landed the jab. Now what? What follows? Another jab would be fine. More speed, more block damage, the double jab is often a good choice. But what if our opponent chooses to throw with us? Then the jab no longer shines. The low damage of the jab does not do well in trades. We'd like to build a little power with our second strike. The natural second choice here is the straight. The straight is also a fast punch, but with much better power than the jab, which makes it a little better in trades. Speed and power are on opposite sides of the coin, which brings us to our second element. Power is inversely correlated with speed. Speed and power are the basis of combination striking. We want to find a way to connect our fast strikes to our powerful strikes so they can actually land. The straight is, of course, still closer to the speed end than the power end, but it's much stronger than the jab. Here, we have an approximate ranking of the basic punches by power from weakest to strongest. Punches that are close together have nearly identical power, but of course this also depends on the move levels of the fighter you're using. Speed is inverted. The weaker strikes at the top are faster, the stronger strikes are slower. The speed and power elements combine to form efficiency. Now, stamina may still be cheap in UFC 5, but it does matter, and it particularly matters in the short term. Stamina serves as a proxy for the weight committed to a strike. The lower your short-term stamina is when hit, the more damage you take. That's why getting a jab countered is way less serious than getting an uppercut countered. The strike you end with also has a huge effect on your stamina. There's a stamina floor for certain strikes in UFC 5, meaning that no matter how many punches you throw, your short-term stamina won't dip below a certain value. The floor is the highest for jabs and straights, less high for hooks and uppercuts. Overhands and kicks have no floor. Your stamina will dip to nothing if they're the last strike in a combo and they whiff. So consider the strike you end a combo with. The heavier it is, the more stamina used, the greater your exposure. So if we've already landed one fast jab, why not skip the straight and go for a more powerful second strike, like an uppercut or an overhand? Well, that brings us to the next element of combo theory, block damage. Power and block damage are not the same thing. Newer players might assume that heavy strikes deplete the block meter faster, but you know what they say about assuming. Jabs and straights are much more effective for whittling away at the guard, doubly so since they're faster and more efficient. Heavy strikes are better at dealing damage on a broken guard. Block damage is another reason why we follow up with a straight and not a heavier right-hand punch. Now we move on to the final strike. There aren't any right-hand punches that combo off a straight, so we're back to the left. Another jab would be fast, but too weak. Lead uppercut is the strongest left-hand strike that combos here. Why isn't that the right choice? Well, getting to the guard is not just about damaging the block meter. The fourth element of combo theory is block manipulation, the second half of breaking through the guard. Now, every strike in UFC 5 fits into two categories, linear and round. Linear strikes come up the middle, jabs, straights, knees, etc. Round strikes come around the side, hooks, overhands, high kicks, and so on. Landing multiple strikes of one type changes your opponent's block animation. Linear strikes bring the guard forward to guard the middle, round strikes bring the hands out wide to guard the sides. When the block is overcommitted in this fashion, it will still guard against the strikes that put the block into that animation, even if the guard meter is 0. That means you cannot throw only linear strikes or only round strikes and break through the guard effectively. After landing multiple linear strikes, the guard will be more vulnerable against the next round strike. Multiple round strikes cause increased vulnerability against the next linear strike. For obvious reasons, this is usually done with multiple linear strikes and a round. Linear strikes are just faster, more efficient. They naturally function better as table setters for your round strikes. If your opponent's block is at 0, you don't need multiple linear strikes to set up a single round. Simply alternating between linear and round will cause most punches to get through. But you won't land effective damage if your offensive diet consists solely of one type of strike. By the way, the linear round distinction doesn't just apply to stand-up. In the clinch and on the ground, the guard also requires multiple angles to properly punch through. The block damage and manipulation elements combine into headhunting, breaking through the guard against upright, non-evasive opponents, also known as the dark art of block breaking. People get mad about block breaking. To some players, it is the most grievous sin in this entire game. The risk of drawing your ire, I'll say this: I don't think there's anything wrong with block breaking. The block mechanics are not overly realistic. Getting chipped down doesn't feel good for newer players or for anybody. But there are many situations in which you should be headhunting in this game. When your opponent forsakes head movement, focusing only on blocking high and low and using footwork to limit your options, you're gonna have a really bad time trying to force in body punches and low kicks. The way this behavior is punished is through block breaking. It's not villainous or untoward to fire 2 or 3 consecutive punches at your opponent's head. If they don't like it, they can move their head or exchange punches with you. Block breaking is an essential element of the game, and it's an essential element of combo theory. This is why we end with a lead hook. It's reasonably powerful, it's reasonably fast, and it's a round strike. The 1-2-3 is also a mid-range combo, which is neither good nor bad per se, but it does make it a bit forgiving. Range is the next element of our combo theory. Long range isn't better than short range. Every combo has an ideal range. Throwing an uppercut from too far away is bad. Throwing a roundhouse from too close is even worse. Because faster punches are also longer, many boxing combos will take you from mid-range into short range. This often works out because fast punches work better when thrown moving forward, covering your advance as you get in place for the short, powerful punches. Combos which go from short to longer range, like mini kickboxing combos, can be difficult because they require a bit of cooperation from your opponent. Recognizing the distance your opponent likes to move to under pressure can help you select combos of the appropriate range. So there you have it, the only combo you'll ever need. But, of course, it's not the only combo you need. Our opponent isn't required to cooperate with us. In fact, because this combo is so straightforward and logical, you will often not throw it against good defensive players. Its strengths are also its weaknesses. If it makes too much sense for the attacker to throw, it's too easy to predict for the defender. Now let's take a moment to consider why the 1-2-3 doesn't work. I'm altering the thought experiment. Evasion is now allowed. The inevitability of the 1-2-3 works against us. Let's start from the end of the combo and work our way back to the beginning. The pull counter, how do we deal with it? Well, we could change our final left hook into a jab. But the problem here is that sometimes it's still going to fall short. And even if we do connect, the power is so low that we're not really hurting our opponent. The head is moving, the body is not. So we send the left hook down to the body instead of the head. When our opponent pulls backward, they take increased damage to their body. This is the way we punish pulls. This brings us to the next element of combo theory. High-low. High-low is simply mixing up combos to target different parts of our opponent. Head, body, legs. This one is not complicated. Just keep in mind that low attacks are worse for the attacker when properly blocked. However, because some positions do not lend themselves to headhunting, like a pull after a 1-2, we need to be able to target the body. But our opponent can also duck under our left hook, and the left hook to the body is not as good against a ducking opponent as a pulling opponent. Here, we need to change our left hook into an uppercut. It is not always optimal to go from high to low to punish our opponent's evasive movements. Changing our strikes to better target our opponent's evasive properties brings us to our final element of combo theory, something I call directionality. Linear versus round, as well as range, is a component of directionality, but it's not about breaking the block. It's about adjusting to our opponent's head movement and footwork, making connections. Fighting is all about connecting with one another. Every strike has a directional property to it, straight or round, but also upwards or downwards. Left versus right is just as important as whether the strike is round here. Not all round strikes are made equal. If your opponent is moving or slipping to one side, you want to land from that side. Slipping away from the hook will still get you hit, but usually take some steam off of it. But adjusting the directionality of your combo doesn't make sense if your opponent isn't moving or slipping. Take the uppercut, a linear upward strike. Great when our opponent lowers their head position, but not ideal to throw for dealing damage through the block. Linear strikes tend to do more damage when the opponent moves into it, or away from it if that takes it into the ideal range of the straight. Round strikes are for punishing lateral movement to that side. Directionality and high-low combine into anti-movement combos, that is, combos designed to punish our opponent for moving their head or feet. I believe these combos should always be thrown for a specific purpose. Either you have a read on how your opponent is going to move and you want to punish it, or you just want to discourage them from moving in the first place so they'll straighten up. These combos are usually a little slower and less efficient than block-breaking combos. Let's finish with the counters to the 1-2-3 for a few more examples of anti-movement combos. What if our opponent lunges away from our lead hand after the straight? The body lead hook still lands, but for less damage. Now we have to bring kicks back in. A body roundhouse combines high-low combo with correct directionality in this case, allowing our opponent to run into our kick for increased damage. But of course our opponent doesn't have to wait for the lead hook. What if they counter the straight? We simply change the straight for a right hook, correct directionality. Next time they might duck under the rear hook, so it changes to an uppercut. And that is the full list of combo elements. I'm done zooming around my little chart. I won't do it again. Except watch out, I'm going to do it again, because there is one more thing to consider, and that's risk. Risk surrounds every part of combination striking. The longer the combo, the more damage we can put on our opponent. But the longer the combo, the more opportunities our opponent has to catch our rhythm and counter us. Combos are a little overrated in UFC 5. It is easier to evade the last strike of a combo than it is to evade a naked straight right hand. I love intricate Muay Thai combos that end in a kick, but those have a risk of their own too. Our opponent may just fire back a right hand as we go for a leg kick. There are certain combos I love that I look for in a match, but trying to find a good combo and force it is a great way to lose. I can't tell you how many times I've been doing well with single strikes and short combos, only to get greedy, tack a hook onto the end, and get pull countered. The right way to combo in UFC 5 is to slowly build it up on the fly, the way we did in this video. I don't go into a match looking to throw set combos. I start every match probing my opponent for reactions with feints, single punches, and maybe a few fast two-strike combos. We need to take risks, but not right away. The goal is to see how my opponent responds. If our opponent is there to be hit, we can start working in straightforward block-breaking combos. Here he's looking to move forward and throw. Not much head movement. It's worth testing a 1-2-3. We win a trade. Now he's looking to slip to get inside. We're not initiating with the jab anymore. Now we transition from block-breaking combos towards anti-movement combos to catch him with a hook as he slips. Our opponent is in tight in the pocket. We're not overly worried about that body shot. We test a couple hooks. Remember, any combo needs its speed, power, and range adjusted based on your position. Here our opponent makes a mistake. He goes for 2 short punches without enough setup. We pull and we can fire back a counter combo. Counter combos are a great opportunity to go from high to low. After taking a hard punch up top, many players look to move their head. It can be hard to focus on looking for body shots here. Any head movement will amplify our body punches. Go back to high, low, high to drop him. Comboing up is much easier against a badly hurt opponent who can't get away from you with no stamina. Look at how our opponent is positioned here. He has much more room to move to his left, which encourages him to drift in that direction. Still worried about his body health too. Right hook up top into a left uppercut. Now that he's worried about guarding low, he's not too likely to be using a lot of head movement. We can move back towards our classic blockbuster. Once you've learned your opponent's tendencies, confused him with a variety of your strikes, your reward is the ability to go back to the elegant simplicity of the jab, cross, lead hook. I'll level with you. In a match, I'm not thinking about all these elements of combo theory. What you're seeing here is more like a map of my subconscious processes as I'm choosing strikes and combos. Besides, as big as this list is, it still leaves a lot of things out. I think anyone who plays the game enough will understand these concepts implicitly, even if it's not on a conscious level. Thinking too hard about this while you're playing probably isn't going to benefit you a lot. But hopefully, understanding why combos work the way they do will help you if the combos you default to aren't getting the job done. It may be more helpful to simplify it to the 3-step process you see right here in a match itself. I hope this video has been of some help, and I do have one last 3-piece combo for you to consider. Like, comment, subscribe.